people that sometimes struggle with anger is because they're actually not doing the things that they love. So anger gets heightened when they're not utilizing their passions or their giftings or their talents, and it gets squashed.
Gift yourself 5 minutes to do something that you love that makes you happy. You know, whatever it is, gardening, coloring, playing with your dog, playing, you know, anything. But just give yourself that time every day, a little bit every day.
Hello and welcome Linwood Unified School District families to another episode of Beyond the Classroom podcast. I am your host, Sarah Barnes, and today we are going to be discussing another important topic on the art of intentional rest. Why is it that in a postmodern era, it is so difficult to carve out intentional rest and self-care for ourselves? And when we do, we tend to feel guilty or we shame ourselves into telling ourselves that we're lazy. Joining us today is our very own Linwood Unified School District Principal at Lugo Elementary, Dr. Ceron, who is joining us today to discuss the importance of self-care. From my understanding, he really promotes this with his staff. And so therefore, he was recommended to come and join us today because he understands the value of being intentional with your rest and taking care of yourself. So thank you, Dr. Ceron, for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I'm really excited to talk to you.
Cool.
So if you can you just introduce us to who you are, your background, your experiences here with Linwood Unified, and the role you're playing out right now?
Cool, my pleasure. Yeah, my name is Paul Michael Ceron Rodriguez. Originally born in Chicago, and I came out to California for college. Got my teaching job here in Linwood, so I've been in Linwood my entire career. Started teaching at Roosevelt, then I started climbing up the ladder out of the classroom as instructional lead at Rosa Parks, and then I got my doctorate degree at Cal State Long Beach, and got into the administrative position as an assistant principal at Lugo, and now I'm principal at Lugo. So happy to be here.
That's a lot of experience that you bring us.
Good experience, yep.
So we stole you from Chicago.
Yeah. Well, I came out.
California.
Yeah, well, I was like Chicago, college, California. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to California.
Awesome.
Something new. Yeah.
Enjoy the beautiful weather.
Exactly.
Not as cold as Chicago.
No. I just go back to visit now. I can't deal with the cold.
I hear it's really bad.
It's rough.
Well, thank you again for being
But I love Chicago.
Yes. I don't think I've ever been to Chicago.
Come on through.
Yes.
Beautiful.
All right. So I'm kind of curious about throughout your career process, did you begin to figure out that rest was so important? And at what point did you begin implementing it in your own life?
I don't think I was intentional with my rest until much, much later in my career, probably after my doctorate, quite honestly. Like, I'm the worst, oh my God, I'm the worst procrastinator. So I was the one staying up late. Sunday nights would be like my freak out night when I would just be like, up all night doing my homework, getting ready for the week. And it was just that, I don't know, like that adrenaline that like, oh my God, I got to get this done. And until I feel that pressure to actually start and begin doing what I need to do. And I'm struggling through it. I'm recognizing it, I'm embracing it and, trying to work through it. But, as I was getting older, I just noticed like, you know what, like this isn't working, man. Like I need my rest. I need to sleep because I'd rather not have some paperwork ready or prepared, but like be rested and ready for the next day. Because if I'm not rested, like, it's just terrible. It's just a terrible day. And even if I got some project or something done, like let's say preparation for a meeting the night before, like, and I was up late doing so, like the next day in the meeting, I'd be like zoned out and mindless and kind of forgetting my notes anyway. So I had to learn the hard way.
I think a lot of us do, right? Procrastination puts on the pressure, and for some reason during the pressure, you actually zone in a little bit more, execute it, it's great, but then you feel the effects the following day.
Yeah. But I started, getting more grounded in, just taking care of myself and my own practices, my, mental health, kind of taking care of myself and my spiritual practices, and kind of getting grounded and centered. And I feel like that's when I started becoming more intentional with different aspects of my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. So why do you think, as a society, when it comes to self-care, there's this connotation that you're lazy?
Yeah.
And then we begin to feel like the guilt associated with that thought. What is your thought to that?
I think it's historical. I think it's kind of like part of our programming in society. You know, I think back on like the Industrial Revolution when it was like, you know, do. We got to create, we got to like, you know, make. And as a society in our culture, like we need people and we need the work done, you know. So it was just such a big push. Even if you think about the beginnings of public education, you know, it was to teach this working, you know, to create this working class. Right, you know, that's why we're on these schedules that we're on. That's why the week is broken up the way it is.
8 to 5, the
8 to
strong
5,
40 hours.
right.
Yeah.
You get your 30 minutes for lunch. You keep working your breaks. And there's just this programming of like we got to push forward and move and hard work. And also thinking about like my own family and you know my dad being an immigrant coming to Chicago. My mom was born in Texas, but you know raised in Mexico in Coahuila, and so in Chicago. It was work, you know, and for the immigrants at the time, hard work would pay off. And I feel like it was true. And at the time, like they could study and go to school, they could work hard, save money, and you can make it. You know, you can get a home, you can get an apartment, you can get a house, and you can like live a life and support your family that way. Right. So I think even like as coming from like an immigrant background, hard work was always placed on us and always kind of seen as like, you can do it, you can overcome your challenges and get in a better place. Yeah, and te puedes superar, you know, you can get over things and overcome these challenges through your hard work and your efforts. So that combined with the culture that we have, like that industrial culture of like that machine, keep going, I feel like that's where our upbringing came from, and that's why in our society today, we have these ideas that we need to be working and be productive like all the time.
All the time.
Yes, all the time.
Yeah, and then there's so many ramifications to that when you're working all the time,
oh my God.
right?
Yeah.
Monday through really Sunday without a day of rest. There's like a lot of, I think, myths and misconceptions to rest, even now, that exists in 2025 with if you rest, you are lazy,
correct.
Right?
Yeah.
But when we don't stop and we are doing the hard work without any rest, how do you think that really impacts maybe your productivity, your health, your mental wellness, your relationships?
If we're not resting, I mean, all of that gets bad. You know, there's always ramifications and consequences for all of those aspects in our lives. You know, like I noticed, if I'm not rested, I'm crabby. I think all of us, right? We're crabby. Nothing seems to go right. Your whole mental state is just like, ugh. It's just struggling. You're just struggling the whole way through. Yeah. And you think about, you know, as a teacher, you know, when you're in the classroom dealing with all your little ones. I'm in elementary, right? So we got the little ones. Man, like your patience just wears thin if you're not rested, if you're not in the right mindset, and if you're not taking care of yourself. So it's just, the ramifications it's just a chain reaction throughout, like everything, I feel.
It really is, and it's interesting that we don't really learn about that until maybe our middle adult life. Like, I didn't think about rest at 20 years old or 30 years old.
Oh, no.
Only like I would, in the last several years, am I feeling the effects of lack of rest, correct? You're moodier, you can't focus at work, you get the migraines, you get maybe the tension in the shoulders. Your relationships suffer.
Oh, definitely.
Like there's such a huge component to not resting.
Yeah, it's huge.
Absolutely. So what is it that you do for yourself when it comes to taking care of yourself? Especially being an administrator, like that's not an easy task. Like that's a huge, like you're the captain of a ship basically. So how do you practice intentional care? Is it like every day? Is it once a week?
Yeah, for me, I think, for me, it's balance. You have to have balance between your work life and your personal life. You need to balance that work state of being, state of mind, and the rest. And if you don't have that balance, and it has to be intentional.
Yeah.
You know, we can get swept up in work, and I can stay in my office like late every single night and never catch up. You know, and that's not healthy. That's not good for anyone. So I try to be intentional with balancing. You know, once I leave work, I'd rather stay late an extra hour and finish up what I need to do, and then when I go home, I can just like let it go.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know, maybe it's a luxury as an administrator. I know teachers that, you know, you bring your work home when you're in the classroom. You bring it home. You got a lesson plan. You got to grade. You got to get everything ready for the next day. Like it's never ending. The work is never ending. It feels like it's never ending. So, personally, I intentionally strive to achieve that balance. Meditation has been, I think, the biggest change that I made in my life as far as my intentional rest. Being intentional with my state of mind and how I start my day. So I have a meditation practice that I do every morning. I just kind of sit and in my space, right? And just kind of like reflect on the day, give thanks for a new day of life, and just reflect on all the blessings that have come into my life, and try to also set the tone for my day. Asking for that guidance to be intentional with my day, to be productive, to be of service. And when you start, I feel like when I start my day with that peace and then gratitude, everything else is much better.
Right.
Like I just feel more in control of myself, my emotions, and those little things and all the little emergencies that happen, like, don't get me so flustered anymore. I can handle these situations in a calm way with a calm mind.
Yeah. It's really interesting. I mean, adults are stressed out, children are stressed out. I mean, 5-year-olds today have high blood pressure and high cholesterol and diabetes more than ever before. And then even our high school students and middle school students they're carrying a weight of stress. I remember there was this study done, it's kind of related to what we're talking about, and this teacher had noticed a lot of his students were getting D's and F's. So he decided to implement every day at the beginning of class 2 to 3 minutes of intentional mindfulness.
Nice.
And at first, the kids, he didn't have a buy-in with them.
Sure.
But once he made it a pattern, like Monday through Friday, by the end of the school year, no student was failing. He actually gained lecture time because students were more calm, more centered, and more focused. So at first he was scared, I'm going to be losing minutes to teach my students. But actually in turn, it benefited the class where he gained time with them because of how they were just more engaged and able to receive the information because their body was in a calm state versus being in a constant state of stress. And what's that saying, when you're in motion, what is in motion stays in motion, right?
Yeah.
And we have to be very intentional with, I'm not going to be mobile right now. I'm going to go calm myself down, do meditation practices.
Sure.
And meditation could look like a lot of different things, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, do you know some of the practices of meditation that are out there?
I do more traditional where I'm sitting in silence, I light a candle, some incense, kind of get the mood, a very calm environment. And sit in silence for myself, or kind of like in prayer almost,
Right.
I think prayer is another good form of meditation, of good connection, with higher beings and your higher guides and self and stuff. So I think that's important. But honestly, it's weird, but I've even had I've felt the benefits, even if I'm sweeping and cleaning, just the act of you're very present when you're sweeping and kind of moving, the little debris around and everything. And it's weird, but it's almost very calming, or I get great ideas all of a sudden because I'm in the moment, I'm present, and I'm just kind of focused on what I'm doing. But I don't know, it's weird, but
But it makes sense though, because you're living in the here and the now.
Yeah, you're in the present moment.
You're able to be in the present moment because of the practices of meditating every day.
También, yeah.
Right?
That's true.
It
Yeah,
makes
for
a lot.
sure.
There's a connection.
Yeah.
This holistic connection.
Yeah. But I know people do meditative walks, and I love that. I think that's great, just to be out in nature, walking, looking at the trees, the plants, feeling the breeze. I think all of that's wonderful, a wonderful practice.
I have
as
some
well.
friends who will also do guided meditation, but through apps.
Oh yeah.
Right, like the Calm app.
A lot of
or
that.
some people just utilize something free, like YouTube.
Yeah, totally. Like before you go to sleep or something, you just kind of have it on, and just kind of drift off to dreamland. Yeah.
Even the white noise.
Sure. Yeah, whatever works. Yeah, definitely.
Is there something specific that you implement with your staff at Lugo?
Yeah, it's funny because, and I totally appreciate all the big push for social emotional learning, because I feel that brought it to the forefront. With our social emotional learning specialist is great and wonderful at teaching our kids to be mindful, to be aware of their emotions and everything.
Thank you, Mrs. Ochoa.
Yes, awesome. So from those efforts, there's a lot of just practices that just come about, and coming out of the COVID, the quarantine era and all that crisis, the big focus on SEL, social emotional learning and mindfulness, was so big at that time because we needed it.
Yeah.
It really, really was a time where we needed all of that. So a lot of the deep breathing, the deep breathing practices were there, we're present, we were learning them. And that's what I do with my staff before a staff meeting. And I understand, like, you know, when you were mentioning that research, it feels awkward, and it's like, are they going to, like, do it? Are they going to buy in? Is it weird? Like, whatever. But, you know, I'm like, I'm the principal, so we're just going to do it, you know? So before a meeting, you know, we just kind of set everything down. I asked them to set everything aside, close the computers, put the phone down, feet on the ground, and just kind of, like, just rest. You just be present. And if you're comfortable, close your eyes, and let's just take a couple of deep breaths together. Yeah. You know, and I'll guide them through this, like some breathing or just some visualization, you know, where you're just kind of, with every inhale, you're just taking in some good positive energy. And with every exhale, you're just releasing and letting go of anything that you need to let go of. Your stress, your to-do list, and kind of be aware of your body, right? Your shoulders will drop a little bit as you exhale. You kind of feel yourself settle into your chair. So these are little things that I remind them when we're doing the breathing. And it's interesting because we'll get into a staff meeting. Everyone will be like chatty about their day and this and that, and the laughs and the giggles and da-da-da-da-da, and the venting and everything going on. And then we start our meeting, and then we'll breathe, and then everyone's chill. Everyone's relaxed, everyone's grounded and centered, and then we can just move forward with whatever it is on our agenda for the day. So I try to do that every single staff meeting. Even with the parents, when we do parent meetings, I think I forgot to do it yesterday, but I take advantage of any opportunity with a group as a gift. You know, I always say, like, you know what, let's give ourselves a few moments where we can just breathe, be present, and just be at peace and relax. Because especially all the moms out there, shout out to all the moms, because I know you're in the restroom and someone's knocking on the door, someone's like, you know, needs something, someone's asking you for something. So
you can't do anything in silence or alone or in peace.
Right. So if we can just take a few moments to just breathe before a meeting, a gathering, at least we can have that, you know. That's what we do.
So for me, I think because I go, sometimes I'm not always in the here and the now or in the moment. Yeah. And so sometimes for me, I could assume that my rest is, I'm zoning out. I'm just vegging, like watching TV, doing nothing. What is the difference, though, between kind of what you're saying, like being intentional with your rest versus zoning out? Intentional rest versus being unproductive? Because I think a lot of people could mirror the two and or associate the two together, but it's not. Like me zoning out is not rest.
No. And I've been guilty of it too. You know, before I go to sleep, I'm like, you know, scrolling on social media, and just next thing you know, it's like another hour before I even go to bed. And so what we're doing there is like we're not resting because our mind is still busy. You know, if we're looking at watching TV or scrolling on social media, whatever it is, we're still receiving. Our brain is still turned on. Our brain is still working and gathering everything. Our senses are still working and gathering everything. So is that truly rest? You know, we need different kinds of rest. We need the physical rest where we're just sitting and resting or laying down, right? But our body, our mind, and our spirit also need to rest. Our minds need to rest because we're racing all day long. All day long we're in our heads about what I'm going to do next. I shouldn't have done that in the past. What's going to happen in the future? You know, so-and-so looked at me weird. What does that mean? And so we're nonstop in our heads. So we really need to be intentional where we turn off everything. We turn off even our minds, our chattering minds. You got to try to calm that down as well because we'll feel the effects regardless. You know, we'll feel the effects.
Sometimes, I mean, I agree. Like, it's so important, and yet, for some reason, something so simple seems so hard to do because there is laundry that has to get done. The dishes need to be done. The sweeping and the mopping and the cooking and the kids' extracurriculars and homework and school projects, right? So, I mean, it kind of makes sense as I'm getting older, the whole old saying of like stop and smell the roses. I don't think I really put that into practice until I started taking walks with my kids. Like literally, you slow down and it makes sense what it is to stop and smell the roses. And if you have a dog, like your dogs do it so naturally and organically. They're smelling everything. And I remember learning from my dog just based upon their behavior. They smell everything, and it makes sense. I need to stop and smell the roses, appreciate the moment, the breeze and the wind, or like the crisp air, the grasshoppers and the crickets, everything. Those are all kind of little signs that you're becoming more aware, right?
And that connection with nature is enormous too.
It's huge.
You know, like I totally want to come back in my second life as a pampered pet, as a pampered dog that can sleep and lounge all day. Yes, you know, you see your dog's like laying in bed, all just like curled up and warm, and you're like, I've got to go to work. But just that connection to nature, right, is so amazing and so therapeutic. It's so medicinal. You know, like just observing our pets and seeing they rest so much. But they're energetic at any moment. They're like still alert and up and all that. But the connection to nature that you mentioned, just the smells, and just to be in your senses, right? Just to be in the present moment, feeling the air coming into your lungs, feeling it let go, being mindful of the smells in the air, the sounds in the rooms around you. All of that is part of being present right here, right now in the moment. I'm not thinking about anything else. And even if I do get distracted during a meditation, and it happens a lot, my mind will just keep wandering, just bring it back to focusing on my breath, to where my body is, feeling my legs, feeling, intentionally feeling like where my body is, how my body feels, what emotions, what feelings are there. And that's perfect.
That's beautiful.
That's
that you've gotten to that point to be able to do that.
Trying, man, trying. It's a struggle every day.
I think it's a struggle for so many people. So when it comes to like the students and parents, our district staff, the community, our partners, professionals, you feel the pressure to always do more. And like what I tell some of my clinicians is the work will always be there.
Always.
It'll always be there tomorrow, but you may not always be here tomorrow. And if you don't take care of yourself, you could basically shed years off of your life, right? How can we encourage all of these basically stakeholders, parents, or even our students to not feel guilty, not feel lazy, not feel inadequate, so that they can begin practicing intentional rest?
I think in my circles, a lot of, there's a big term going around, like decolonizing, right, is a big term, right? You got to decolonize rest. Or I kind of prefer the flip would be to re-indigenize our practices.
I haven't heard of those terms used in this way. Tell me more.
So like to re-indigenize would be to be mindful of ourselves, to connect with our true selves and connecting with nature, taking our cues from nature. When it comes to winter time, what do we see happening outside? Everything's slowing down. Everything's shutting down. It gets, the cold, the plants, the trees. Take your cues from nature. Everything is just kind of time to slow down, time to go inward, time to just to chill, go in your little cave and hibernate. That's what we need. Maybe not in a literal sense because we got work to do and we have things to do.
We can't be the bears that hibernate.
Right. I wish. But to re-indigenize is to reconnect with like those natural cycles, those natural patterns, and realize that we as people, as individuals, we need to be good and we need to take care of ourselves. If we're not good, we can't take care of everybody else.
Right.
If I'm not well rested and taking care of myself and being mindful of my diet, of not just what I consume in terms of food, but on social media and everything else and all the energy that I'm consuming around me. You got to be mindful of that so that I'm well, so that I can take care of my community, so I can take care of my students, my teachers, and parents, and also my district folk, that need whatever's needed at the time. So, is there a specific strategy? I mean, I don't know. I think it's just a way of reframing how we think of those things. If we're not good, we can't do the work.
So the reframing, meaning like how we view rest?
Yeah. How we
speak it to ourselves.
And, we can be mindful that like, I'm feeling really guilty because I'm taking this nap, or I'm feeling guilty that I'm taking this break, but just be mindful of that. That's a feeling that we have. It's not good, it's not bad, it is what it is. And we just gotta kind of just see it as it is, like, okay, I'm feeling this kind of way about it, but then I realize like, I need this rest, I need this for me. And it's okay to take care of ourselves. And the more we love on ourselves as well, the easier it gets. I deserve this, I deserve rest, we all do. We all deserve to be happy, to be, to take care of ourselves, to give ourselves what we need, so that we can serve.
I think it's beautifully stated what you just said. Basically, self-care is loving oneself. And if I want my children to be healthy, contributing adults to society, I need to role model it for them, because they do more what we do than what we say, right?
Yes.
So if I'm going to teach them self-love, I have to live it first.
Exactly.
And that all comes from loving myself enough to say it's okay to take this 15-minute power nap. It's okay to shut the door, and kids, you can watch TV for 20 minutes.
I need my time.
I need some rest right now. For sure. And that's a restorative rest that I'm giving myself because I love myself.
Exactly.
So really, how do we learn to love ourselves? This could segue into an even bigger topic.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah, definitely. And it's so important. And we don't talk about it. Again, I'm going to go back to like the big push towards social emotional learning. when we finally, okay, let's talk about our feelings. Let's value our feelings. Let's appreciate ourselves. And how powerful that is.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. You know, when you see these little kids advocating for themselves or letting people know, like, I don't like this, or this is making me feel angry or making me feel sad. It's like, how beautiful, how powerful that is. Like, because we didn't get that as we were kids.
No, we got the work ethic.
Yeah, te aguantas and let's go, you know, like, suck it up.
We didn't get the empathy.
Let's move. No, you know, a lot of times we didn't. I mean, I grew up in a very loving home, don't get me wrong. But yeah, that was always like the push, like, suck it up, get over it, let's go, let's move. And it's refreshing to see that changing now.
Yeah, that's so important. It's so key. Is there something that you would recommend that we built into our lives and into our daily routines? I know you're doing it yourself.
Yeah, but I mean, we have to give ourselves time. Give yourself the time. Schedule in some time for yourself. I had an administrator who passed away, but he would tell me, like, every day, 5 minutes, just turn off your lights in your office, just put your head down, close your door, just give yourself 5 minutes. You know, and it was like, okay. At the time, I was like, I ain't got time. I got so much to do. But I see the value in that. Just scheduling time for yourself.
Yeah.
Whatever that is, whatever brings you joy, like a good kind of joy, right? Like a natural kind of good joy. Whatever brings you that joy and feeds your soul, do it.
I love what you just said. It reminds me when I was a child, the 5-minute rule. You highlighted how meditation could also be, for some people, prayer. And that was something, and it was a song. And it was like, 5 minutes every day. I'm going to pray 5 minutes every day. But those 5 minutes are powerful. Doing nothing is worse than, you know what, than these 5 minutes I'm going to take out just for myself.
Correct.
So 5 minutes meditation, 5 minutes exercise,
Totally.
even like a jog in place. It would even help students with like ADHD. I don't know if you knew that, but it fires up the frontal lobe of the brain. Just a 2 to 3 minute quick jog.
That's good to know.
All that self-care matters.
Good to know, because I'm thinking I got to work out for like at least an hour, or otherwise I'm not doing it right.
Like a strong,
I can
like
start
putting
with 5
in place.
minutes. I can start with 5 minutes.
But it's the starting that's the hardest.
Yeah, of course.
It's getting over that bump.
Yeah.
Or the hump, whatever we call it.
Sure. But the more we do it, the
easier it gets.
Right?
And then it becomes like you've been doing it every day, so it becomes, I think, second nature to you. It's like a habit now.
Oh, yeah. And if you don't do it, it kind of like, you just feel off. Like, oh my God, I didn't meditate today. Like, you know, but luckily it's something you can just do in your office. Or do something at a lunch break, like, let me just, give me 5 minutes just to ground myself, just to breathe, you know. Yeah. But
it's a form of honoring yourself, really.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And again, that's self-love, right? And it doesn't have to be meditation. It could be painting. It could be like something that really brings you joy that you haven't been able to do. You love working with your hands. You love coloring. Color. Give yourself that gift. Do it. Whatever you love. Just gardening, connecting with nature. Oh my God, if you could walk barefoot outside in the grass for a few moments, like that's medicine right there.
Yeah.
That's earth medicine. Just soaking it all up.
Yeah, do something you love. I remember hearing something very recently. It was saying that people that sometimes struggle with anger is because they're actually not doing the things that they love. So anger gets heightened when they're not utilizing their passions or their giftings or their talents, and it gets squashed. But if you do what you love, it actually begins to reduce the anger.
I believe it. I believe it, for sure.
Well, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
So every time we do a podcast, we do a take-home challenge.
Okay.
So what is one thing that you could recommend to our families, our parents, that they could actually implement today that reframes the I'm lazy to rest is so important and I could do this today? What is something that you would recommend that they could do, whether it's today or tomorrow, by the end of the week?
So you have to change the mind frame. You can't, punish yourself with the guilt of that I'm being lazy, but give yourself 5 minutes. Give yourself more if you can. Give yourself 10 minutes. Yeah. Every day, close everything, turn everything off. For me, it's breathing and just kind of being in that meditative state, right? But it could be gift yourself 5 minutes to do something that you love that makes you happy. Whatever it is, gardening, coloring, playing with your dog, anything. But just give yourself that time every day, a little bit every day, and reframe, right? Re-indigenize that way of thinking so you can love yourself and honor what you need, because you're worth it. We're worth it. Like I'm this little spirit here, this soul, and I deserve happiness.
Right.
I deserve joy. I deserve love.
Yeah.
And all those things will come to you,
I agree.
But yeah, give yourself that time, reframe those thoughts, and find the joy. Find the joy. Play.
Yeah, and reclaim it. Reclaim
Yes.
the joy.
Play, dance, sing, you know, like in a natural, healthy way. Just as it feels really weird to like be at home dancing by myself, but I'm going to like turn up the music and dance by myself, and I don't need anything else to kind of add to it, you know, like just that natural joy.
And when you do it, you actually see the difference in your mood right away.
Yes, totally.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank
I
you.
so appreciate your time and for investing into our community and Linwood Unified School District. So thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you.
And thank you, Linwood Unified School District families, for tuning in today. We really appreciate your time. You have to remember today, tomorrow, and weeks and months to come that when you are feeling guilty about practicing self-care, please recognize that it's misplaced guilt and that you are worthy of loving yourself and giving yourself 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 30 minutes a day of self-care. It's important, and you will see such a difference when you make it a habit, a daily routine, even a new ritual in your life. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to come to Student Services Department. Maybe you can inquire about the Health Collaborative team and our SEL, our Social Emotional Learning Specialist. We can provide you with more education and information on this very topic. We hope that today's episode brought information and knowledge your way and strengthened you today, and we will see you next time on Beyond the Classroom podcast.
I hope.
Bye.